Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart. Welcome, greetings, peace and love, miracles with a twist. It's the week after 4th of July, so I hope that you, humans and pets, all had safe and fun, loving, caring, healthy gatherings. I was in Minnesota visiting with the family of our beloved Pam Ra, who passed away last February. And for those of you who don't know her or didn't know of her, she had a rather sudden, shocking, sorry to say, gruesome death. And so there's still some reeling of it, of course. And I went to the graveside. I went to spend time with the family. And there was some lingering questions around how do we find peace after tragedy? How do we move on? How do we, just sort of shake off the grief, the shock? And it's a question that I've asked people many times over the years, having seen so many people who have been survivors of difficult circumstances and tragic situations. And one of the things that continuously comes back as an answer, as a solution to moving forward, is getting into a place of service, wanting peace through being available to others, to be helpful to others, to remove, even if just for a moment, ourselves out of the depth of our anguish, so we can show up and be of service to others. And earlier in the week, just before I took off for Minnesota, the lesson from A Course in Miracles 185 said, I want the peace of God. To say these words is nothing, but to mean these words is everything. If you could just mean them for an instant, there would be no further sorrow. So I thought about that. How can we not have sorrow when we are experiencing shock and sadness and heartbreak? And I came to realize that what this lesson is really trying to tell us and to move us toward the direction of peace through those moments that are just glimpses, those holy instants, those opportunities to step outside, even if it's just to have some relief. And being of service is a great way to find relief. This past full moon gathering, I told a story that was shared with me by Angie, who was Pam's partner of 25 years. And the story is about a little girl whose father owns a bee farm. Are they farms? I don't know, bees. And when he was showing his daughter how after a certain amount of time, the bees create so much honey, so much available honey for them to sell. So when they went to gather the honey, the little girl looked inside the container and she saw that some of the bees were stuck in the honey and they were just sort of squirming and fighting for their little bee lives. So she said, oh, what can we do? Can we help them in any way? And the father said, no, I'm afraid not. And so he took a container lid from a yogurt container and he scooped them up and he put them aside. And he said, we'll come back and just sort of throw it out later after they've passed away. So a couple of hours go by and the little girl goes running out to see what happened to the drowning bees. And what she found was that all the bees that had flown away when the bee master came to take the honey were back. They came back and they were all licking honey off the drowning bees. They had a gathering of sisterhood and brotherhood, whatever bees are, and they were helping their troubled bee friends, and they saved their lives. They literally took all the honey that was weighing them down, that was weighing down their wings, and they saved they gathered as a community. They came back. They somehow knew, they came back and they took care of those 3 little bees. And it reminded me of a story from the Taoist tradition about a city that was built on a river. And in the ancient times, the river dried up. And so people were planning on rebuilding in that area. There were 2 fish. There were 2 little fish that remained after the river had dried up. And what the people say, legend has it, that they were squirting each other with whatever they had left within themselves to try and save the other. And the bee story and the fish story reminds me that our humanity is what shows up when it is needed and when we need to extend it. So it can be what the Buddhists say is wise selfishness, because we give of ourselves, but we also give to receive. It's like that little cartoon I sent out recently in the daily WhatsApp inspiration messages of someone. It was like a little bear goes up to the other little bear. And he says, oh, I'm having a bad day. Do you want to play Lost and Found? And the other bear says, don't you mean hide and seek? And he says, no, lost and found. I'm feeling lost. And the other bear says, what do I need to do? And he says, just hold my hand. So he holds his hand and he said, that's it. Do you feel better? I feel better. Do you feel better? And the other bear says, yeah, let's play again. And it's like, when we give, we receive. When we bless, we are blessed. There is a reciprocity of the energy of giving and receiving. And the reason the Buddhists call it wise selfishness is because even though we think we are given of ourselves, we get out of ourselves and we receive. And so the compassion that we give in an attempt to help others is a compassion that we receive, even under the worst of circumstances, even in the worst of times. And another quote that I sent out in the Daily Inspiration was by George Bernard Shaw. And it goes in line with this message. He said, the true joy in life is being used for a purpose recognized as a mighty one, being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for that community what I can. I want to be thoroughly used up by the time I die. For the harder I work, the more I live, I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle. It is a sort of splendid torch for which I have gotten hold of for the moment. I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. And so how do we attain the peace of God? We attain it by being it, by extending it. To say these words is nothing, but to mean these words is everything. If you could just mean them for an instant, there would be no sorrow. So now it makes more sense. Heaven would be completely given back to full awareness and the memory of God entirely restored and the resurrection of all creation fully recognized. So there we have it. Let it be and blessed be. To be of service is to find the peace of God. So I wish that for you. God bless you. See you next week.